Hi, it's Sarah here from Floral, and today I'm going to show you guys in an easy step-by-step tutorial how to make a gorgeous arrangement just like this. So stay tuned and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do it. For supplies today, I have a Oasis foam brick. I've already pre-soaked this, so if you don't know how to do that, check out my YouTube video on that. I have it in this plastic vessel. I've got my pruners, and then in terms of flowers, I've got these hot pink roses. This is Genestra, Baby's Breath, Statice, and I've got a tiny bit of Parvifolia eucalyptus. So let's get to arranging. So I'm gonna start first with my Baby's Breath, and you're gonna watch me struggle here a little bit. Baby's Breath gets so tangled. And so when you try to untangle it, it has a tendency to sort of lose its blooms, but that's just kind of par for the course with Baby's Breath. So I'm going to start by kind of distangling it from itself. And I'm give it a fresh cut with my pruners because we always want to have our flowers nice and cut sharply so that way they can uptake the water properly. And I'm going to start inserting it into my foam. Baby's Breath also has a tendency to have some pieces that break, so I'm just keeping an eye on that, and if they end up having broken pieces, I'm just going to take my pruners and just cut off the broken pieces. Generally, you would start your arrangements with greening out is what it's called, and that's putting in the greenery into your arrangements first. But this arrangement, I'm going to do very minimal greenery and sort of rely more so on the Genestra and Baby's Breath to fill it in. So that's why I'm using those first of all. Sometimes there's little snaggly bits like this guy here on the Baby's Breath, so I'm just taking my pruners and giving it a little snip. So don't be afraid to take a critical eye and just take off the pieces that really don't suit you. Not every bloom is going to be perfect. So I've got my Baby's Breath now kind of dispersed around my arrangement here. Got this little bit of discard piles that I'm going to get rid of. And now I'm going to pull out the Genestra. So this has some amazing movement, and that's what I'm really going to use it for, is to get some height into my arrangement. So as always, remembering cutting the ends with your pruners. And when you're working with foam, you don't want the leaves going into the foam because it's going to sort of clog up the foam. So I'm removing those pieces. If they are cute and usable, I'll keep them to the side because I might want to pull those in later. So just putting in my Genestra there. I love the smell of Genestra actually too. It's a super neat flower to work with, and it's very hardy. So I am really loving working with it. I'm going to put a couple more of these all throughout my arrangement. This one here sort of has double prongs, and I don't necessarily want this big of a piece in my arrangement. So I'll just take my pruners and cut out one of them. Genestra is really woody, so it's a little bit tricky to cut, and that's yet another reason why it's so important to use pruners when you're making your arrangements rather than scissors, because your scissors just would laugh when they saw you trying to cut your Genestra. So I'm just gonna add a couple more while you guys just have a coffee. Okay, so I've got now some awesome movement from this Genestra, but you can see I still have a fair amount of space here that's not filled in. So now that I've had a little bit of time to think about my arrangement, I'm gonna go and add in some more Baby's Breath. And I was going, as you can tell, for the height and depth in here, which I'm still loving, but I'm gonna need to start to get some pieces that are a little bit lower just to kind of hide the visual of the foam, because nobody likes looking at green foam. So that's why I'm gonna start going a little bit sideways in here just to cover up my floral foam. So if you're wondering why I didn't fill this in first, it's because flower arranging is honestly a work of art. So I'm just kind of arranging, seeing how it goes, rearranging, and that is kind of the process. So you're not going to start arranging and it's going to be perfect right away. It's all about kind of trying out things and then going back and reassessing. So I'm going to keep adding in a fair amount more Baby's Breath now just to fill out the foam that I can see in the bottom here. So I've got some shape beginning to form here. I'm gonna add in now just another piece of this Genestra. The pieces are all different size, so I can kind of pick through to see one that's kind of the size I want. I prefer more a small one rather than, like, for example, this guy here is significantly larger. So I'm gonna take some of the pieces off the bottom again, give it a little bit shorter of a cut, and then I want it to drape out this way. So now my filler is all in. Now I'm gonna start adding in these amazing pink roses. So the look I'm going for today, if you can't already tell, is I'm going for height. So I'm keeping my roses nice and long, and I'm putting them at a bit of an angle, and I'm gonna intersperse them throughout my arrangement. These roses are 2 days old, so they're still not fully open. So I am making this for an event tomorrow, and by tomorrow they should be fully open to their most beautiful sort of self. When I'm pushing into the foam, make sure you push in really deeply because we want your flowers to have lots of water to soak all in. I am also doing a little bit of a stagger in terms of my height. So I don't want these all to be the exact same height because the different heights is what adds sort of the visual interest to them. So that's why you'll see I'm cutting them. Some are a little bit shorter and some are a little bit longer. So just because I'm building this backwards, it's a little tricky to kind of see what it looks like. So I'm going to take a look here, and I see I'm missing kind of some on either side here. So I'm just going to put the arrangement a little bit to the side so I can get a better sort of visual on what I'm doing here. And let's grab a couple more roses to fill in the spots that I see are missing on either side here. So let's add one in here. And I'm gonna add another one in. I'm gonna cut this one a little shorter. Okay, cool. I got a bunch of roses in here, and now I'm gonna add in some of this purple Statice. I chose this because I love that it's got this movement on the end of a sort of rigid stalk. So I thought that would play really well with the sort of airiness of the Genestra. So see, I am not perfect. That is way too long. I'm gonna pull it out, give it a cut, and then pull it back in. So if you're wondering, how do I know that was way too long? I just felt it. And that's honestly one of the main tricks to know about flower arranging is you have to be really in tune with how you feel. Like, does this bring you enjoyment and does it feel right? Like, there's not really a right and wrong when it comes to flower arranging. It's a lot about feel. I mean, of course, there's some principles. Never use kitchen shears. I feel almost like a broken record. I'm always telling people that. And if you've watched a few of my videos, I'm sorry if I'm getting to be annoying, but never use your kitchen shears. Okay, this is looking so amazing. I'm gonna put another one down there. And sometimes I just take mine and just kind of hold it up like, is that the right length? And then if the answer is no, I can cut it. I don't know if you guys caught that cool trick I did here, but I wanted this smaller, so I pieced off some of these. And so now I have a more subtle piece of this Statice that I can put in here to just bring the color from sort of up here down below. And I have a couple more pieces now that I'm gonna use to just add more subtle purple throughout my arrangement and sort of bring the color downwards. So I am getting to really love how it looks. And now is the point where you kind of take a step back, take a look at it and see, what do I need to change about it? So I'm gonna maybe add another rose right up here because I have a bit of a sort of gap going on in there. And sometimes, honestly, I'll even make my arrangements and I'll go and have a coffee, or you could have a glass of wine. I'm not gonna judge you, honestly. And then I'll come back and then see, did I need to change anything? So I think that is pretty much perfect. I'm really loving this here. So as I said, I'm gonna take a step back, make sure that I don't see any foam and take another look at it before I call it done. But so far, I think this is an awesome arrangement. It really is going to be perfect for putting on the side of an altar or a stairway, just to give you some height and some really strong pizzazz. I didn't actually even end up using my eucalyptus, so it's just kind of sadly sitting here for next time, but sometimes that happens, like I just wasn't feeling it. So thanks for watching, guys, and let me know if you have any questions.